Hey everyone, welcome, welcome. This is Jennie W.I.S.E from the W.I.S.E Mind Yoga Psychology School. And also, we are having our doors open right now for the Girl Let It Go Inner Circle and the W.I.S.E Method. And so I'm so honored and excited to have Dana McBride on with us. She is beautiful. She's been a student, she's been a friend, she's been a partner with me. I'm so grateful to have her. And so, Dana, if you want to introduce yourself and let's chat a little bit about how long we've known each other and, anything else that you want to share for students out there initially that don't know me or don't know Wise Mind Yoga. And I know you've been working with me for years, like going on 8 years.
Yeah.
So share away.
It's hard to top that introduction. Um, well, I am grateful that you invited me on today, and it's always fun to share my story, my journey with you. The journeys that we've seen together, things that I've seen. Um, but basically, we've been, like you said, about 7 going on 8 years working in sort of all the different, I guess, realms, working as like a mentor, you the mentor, me like the mentee. Then where, I help with your website or your marketing or, and then I'm showing you stuff. So I feel like it's a very, there's a word I'm searching for.
Synergy.
Sure. Synergy. I was going to symbiotic, I guess is what I was going, like a relationship, a give and take, but it's all good. So, and I feel like, in a friendship, of course, I, it's just, I can't think of anything else that I was going to say. I lost track.
Well, you were going to share about the inner critics and the different inner critics that you've worked through, and then also some of the things that you've done with meditation and yin and
Oh,
all
yes.
these pieces.
Thank you. Sorry. Um, I will admit openly that I do have attention and focus issues. So that was my little flub there. And now my inner perfectionist is reeling, thinking, Dana, I can't believe you did that. But that's actually one of the things that I'm still working on. I consider myself to be a work in progress. So, the perfectionist of me trying to be what I think I should be. I think over the years, one of the biggest things that Jennie has taught me, and I think I told you this story where the very first time I did the meditation, I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, I should be doing this. I should be doing this. Very taskmaster oriented. But now it's become a go-to tool when I start to feel flustered or overwhelmed, or like if I feel it coming on, that's sort of where I'll stop. I'll be like, it's okay to stop, go take that minute or 5 minutes or whatever it is to sort of reset. And, that's sort of helps me so much. It's crazy. It actually just blows my mind how much it helps, because I swear like 5-6 years ago, I don't think I would have believed that something like that could help. And it's just, I love seeing the growth, not just in myself, but in, your other students and just people over the years. It's always been really, it's just inspiring, really, is what I would say.
Mm-hmm. And as far as if you want to share like some of the things you've done with yin and meditation, and I did want to share a minute too, back to Dana's background, is that she is a corporate professional, but she also is an entrepreneur. So she's a blend of both. And there's a lot of those out there that, work a corporate, profession. And then in addition, they're working with clients or they have a quote side hustle, whatever you want to call it, where they're also pursuing their own, dreams, in addition to having a part-time or a full-time corporate professional job. So I definitely feel like, to your point, a lot of these things that you've learned have been life skills, because I know you've seen it like in your personal life, also how you treated yourself.
Oh,
And
it's been essential to me. Like, these tools have just been like, there are times where I think I don't know where or how I would be okay if I didn't have them. Just because, the anxiety, the stress, the just things that get, the shoulds, I coulda, all that stuff, or, I guess shoulda, coulda, woulda stuff, where, but I don't like, I've been working on, my mindset, trying not to think like that. And I'll actually share just a personal anecdote today. So this morning, I actually had something trigger me. And I was thinking back like a few years ago, I think I would have had a meltdown about what was triggering me. But today, I didn't get upset. I didn't get mad. I was able to sort of accept and move past it. And I feel okay right now. I'm not even, the only reason I'm thinking about it is because we're talking about it. But like, I was able to step back, and as we've discussed before, where I'm in emotion mind, I skipped over that and went straight to, this rational, let's sort of, going through the process, and I feel okay. I don't feel, and it's just like, I'm ready to go on through the rest of my day. And, I didn't let it derail me from today. And so I was proud of myself for that. And I'm going to put that in the win column as, as something, in my journal, because I journal. And one of the things that I journal is things that I'm proud of myself for. And I'm going to put that in there as something. So I just wanted to share that with you, because that actually like happened today.
that's amazing. And that's huge. Like, working on, like you said, not going into emotion mind, and being able to stay in wise mind, which is a huge part of what we teach about, is emotional resilience and stress resilience. And it's a life skill, right? So after those 6 months, you're going to see a big transformation and change. But in addition to that, it's going to keep going, right, for years, because healing is a lifelong journey, right? And so you get to practice and learn with every situation. And so that's a great example, Dana, and an opportunity for growth, that you didn't get triggered. So that's amazing.
Well, and then that also reminds me of the, it happened again. I'm sorry. This is my attention problem. I'm just so excited to be sharing stuff. And I know what I was going to say. It's so exciting to see like the transitions, not just from me, but from other, I've been watching, because, when I edit or when I clean up some of these videos from, the other students, and I hear their journeys, and it always just makes me feel, one, I'm not alone. And two, I feel like that warmth that, not only do they have that relationship, that friendship with you that they've developed, but also that, their own personal journey, whether it's their relationship with their family or their friends or their children or, whatever. It's just, or with themselves. It's just always so, I'm getting like tingles thinking about it, because it just always makes me feel good. And it makes me feel like if they can do it, I can do it. And that's really, I really think that's what it's like all about, is just showing, hey, one, you're not alone. And you know what? All these women, all these people have been able to do this successfully. So, you can too. And I think that's a big part of, what you try to just, even when you're doing like your consults and stuff, to be like, hey, we're here for you. We're a community. let's work together and we're going to get you through this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I really like.
Yeah. And share a little bit from what you can remember of some of the things that people have said as far as getting on a consultation with me and what that's like.
Well, the biggest one is it's like talking to a friend. And I totally can relate to that. We've had many consults over the years in different realms of things, either from me talking to you or you talking to me. And a lot of the time it's like it's like picking up where we left off without, which is what I like. Like I have friends where if we don't talk for like months and then we get on the phone and it's just like we just talked yesterday. And that's what I feel like it is with you. A lot of the time where it's just like talking to an old friend, um, you know, because there is that actual I was talking about you to one of my colleagues and I said she gives these like a genuine feeling, like there's a genuine generous, not well, genuine vibes. And and that makes you feel, I don't want to say feel real because you are real, but it is real. And it's like there's that you actually care is what I'm trying to say. You actually have that spirit, and I like that. And I think it resonated with a lot of the other students too, is because that was a very common thing that I remember people saying, like you're like talking to a friend, you care, like you're different than other other people they may have worked with in the past. And I can vouch for that too. It's totally different than just other consults where they can be kind of dry or seem very scripted. And I know from experience that you're not like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, because it's very custom. And when you say, we customize this consult for you, you mean it. And it's real. So, because you genuinely want to know what you can do to help, because you want to help. And I love that. I think that's a really special quality, and not a lot of people have that. A lot of people are just out there to make money, but I know you want to actually help. And I think it reads through either a Zoom call or a Skype or, whatever, just a phone call even. I think that comes through.
I appreciate that, girl, because I know you've known me for a long time. So, you see a lot, behind the scenes, right? So there's there's no perfect business. There's no perfect relationship, right? Like but overall, our why is so important. And, for me, struggling with some of the things that I have in the past, 10 years ago when I had a breakdown, it really has been a huge part of my why, that when I have gone through and learned some of these holistic ways to help heal and transform yourself, that other people don't have to go through that same thing, right? And that was a huge part of my why, is I don't want somebody else to have to go through that dark night of the soul, or have to go to that point of having a breakdown for them to learn these things.
Yeah.
Right. And something as simple as, rewiring your mind and knowing that you're in control of your thoughts, and that, people that struggle with rumination, like with those like overthinking, right? Or somebody who struggles with a really loud inner critic like I do. I don't want somebody else to have to experience that the way I did, to have to start learning how to fix it. Not that we need to be fixed, but I mean, just having tools, right? Having the tools and the life skills, and knowing the process and the methods that are evidence-based, by the way, that aren't woo-woo, that is going to help like transform your life, basically.
I totally agree with that. And actually, I feel, I mean, I'm obviously not an expert by any means, but a lot of the stuff that you've taught me over the years, I feel like when I come across a friend or family or somebody who's going through something, a lot of times it clicks. I go, oh yeah, what about that thing that Jennie showed me? And then I'll just recite whatever it is back to them. I'm like, you should try this. And I like that because it's like, it allows us, students to share what we've learned, whether you're going to be a teacher or coach or whatever, or just, a friend, and you want to just be there for those people. And it allows me to do that. And it allows me to kind of see things differently and be there in a different way. And I think that's really valuable. Especially like, I really like the part where you say like how you can rewire your brain. And I know that that is a fact. Part of my corporate job is working with brain timing and things, and it is scientifically proven that you can rewire your brain. And one of the things that I feel like that must just be working for me because, with the meditation, the yoga, so many things have changed for me as far as just the way I feel about like myself, like in my mind and my body and just everything really. And it's just, and I feel like a huge, huge part of it is, wise mind, to be honest. That's how I see that, at least.
I love that. I love to hear that. It makes me really happy.
Well, it's the truth.
Yeah, I know, but it makes me happy to hear people's stories and transformations. And I think too, like just being open to trusting the process, I guess is a good word, and having faith, and trusting like that this is going to work.
Which
And
is going to be hard for some
yeah,
people. I am one of those people where like, and I think actually on your what Mandy even said that she tended to drop it if it got hard. And I'm like, when she said that, I go, oh, I get it. I totally get it. And I am like that, where if it's too hard or if it takes too much, time, we come up with all these excuses not to do the thing that we need to do. And it's just, and of course, like you said, the having the faith thing, which that's actually one thing I've been struggling with. And I've actually been meaning to talk to you about this, is where, if I don't have proof or evidence to something, it's hard for me to want to go along with it. But then if I start really to think about it with Wise Mind, so many of the methods are actually proven. So there's my evidence. But then it's like having faith in yourself that you're actually capable of doing this. And that is sometimes where I think a lot of people struggle with. I know I have, like, and I know we've talked about this stuff where certain thoughts and patterns that come in my head, where revolves around my anxiety and depression and things. And I just really see the value in a lot of these strategies. I like that they're in my toolbox, so to speak. So, and I feel like I'm having that faith in myself, in the higher power, whether you want to say God, universe, whatever, that feeling of there is something, I know I can do this, guide me kind of thing. And that's just how I don't know, I believe it now better, stronger than I did years ago, where I really struggled years ago. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you've heard me talk about this before, that I'm a firm believer in, you have to have your own strength, right? Like you have to be accountable and you have to be responsible.
Yes.
And accountable for your own healing and transformation, no matter what trauma has happened in your life. Ultimately, it's up to you.
Yes.
And each of us. And if healing was easy, everybody would do it. If the inner work was easy, but I can tell you that every ounce of time and energy and finances that you invest in it, you will get back, like,
It's
I was
worth
going to say
it.
tenfold, but it's more like 100-fold. And in some ways it's priceless.
Yeah.
Um, and you also create a ripple effect in the world. So whether you choose, like you said, whether you choose to be a teacher or you don't, whether you choose to coach or you don't, whether you choose to mentor or you don't, if you are simply as part of your family or as part of your friends, sharing these principles with other people, and not to mention you're healing yourself, right? And each one of us that heals ourselves is helping to heal the world. And it creates a ripple effect, and it changes families, and it changes friendships, and it changes businesses, and it changes career. It touches every parenthood, like every area of your life, it ripples out into. And a lot of the students, like you mentioned, I've heard that from other students too, where they're like, oh, I shared this with whoever it was. And so that's one of the reasons why, like, we've created, the financial options that we have. We now have 5 different partners, and all different types of plans and lengths of plans, and, um, you know, many different ways to address that piece of it, because, we get it. People need to have different options, right? And so that's why we have, anywhere from like 85 to $100 a month, right? Or different options where it might be more, but a shorter time frame.
Right.
So it's important for people to know that too, to bring that up. That I just was on the phone with somebody last night, actually, and we got off of there, and I came up with some custom ways, to even customize more what we've already done, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the point being, if anybody who listens to this replay, I don't want that to be the reason to hold you back. So don't let fear of finances hold you back from this, because we will work with you as best we can to customize. And when I say customize, I mean customize. So that means like putting a deposit down, not putting a deposit down, putting different, types of deposits down. Like, so the point is, when I say customize, I mean customize. And it's the same thing as when we get on a consult. Like, the way I work with people with financial plans, I go above and beyond. So if somebody really is like, I want to make this work, I'm ready to do this, like, this is calling to my soul, this resonates for me, I need to heal these different things, whatever the thing is. Or maybe it's like, I really want to be a teacher, I'm being called to teach, or I'm being called to mentor or coach, or it's for somebody's own healing. Maybe they're going through something difficult. I talked to somebody who is struggling with grief and some other things happening in their life. They need something like this because they need to somatically heal. She had been doing talk therapy, and
it only gets you so far.
And yeah, talk therapy is only going to get you so far. And so, and nothing against talk therapy, because I'm 100% for talk therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to grief, there is somatic part of that is held in the body, in the mind, and the heart. And if you don't heal that in all those areas, it is going to manifest in some way, whether it's mental or physical health. And it also can affect your spiritual life as well. If your heart's closed off with grief or resentment or bitterness or anger, or unforgiveness, you can't fully function. And that's not even including like the mental and physical health, disease, and all the ways it can show up in the body. That's how things like cancer and other things like that can start, because you have some kind of unresolved grief or trauma or unforgiveness or resentment that you're holding in the body, or bitterness. So I could get in, and we get into that in our wellness module. As you know, we talk about the connection between your thoughts and emotions and your health.
And
And
actually, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that just actually made me think of another thing that you and I have talked about. And I think I actually had my little epiphany, and I was like, Jennie, does this make sense? And then you were like, it does. It actually does. And my epiphany at the time was, so one of the things I had been recently struggling with was trying to lose weight, to feel healthier, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever. Sort of the all encompassing. And one of the biggest things, I went to doctors and whatever, and they're like, well, do you have to do this, this, this? And I'm like, one, it's hard. So I was like, ugh, it goes back to the, it's hard. Is it, do I want to do it? But what really stuck with me was one of the doctors says, she's like, you can eat right, you can exercise, regularly, but if you don't get your stress under control, you're not going to see much of a difference. And I was like, whoa. And then I was like, Jennie talks about stress all the time, stress management, stress resilience, stress, how stress takes a toll on your physical body. And, doctors and things that we see all over the news, whatever, they always talk about it, but it kind of, I feel like it's one of those background noises that we just, yeah, stress, kind of things. But it clicked with me. And so then I started to really, because, at the beginning of the year, sort of the, this was sort of like last year, beginning of last year, Christmas time and, getting back into a routine, it's kind of hard sometimes. And so I had kind of slacked on my meditation. And I was like thinking how hard it is and how I'm eating different and how I'm exercising and nothing's changing. And then I remembered the stress thing. And so then I started meditating like 3 times a week. Like I set time aside to dedicate to myself because I knew it would help. And I did. I started to lose the weight. And I was like, is that real? Is it really the meditation, the stress management that's helping? And I know I talked to you about it and you're like, yeah, it helps. It really does. And I was like, I just couldn't believe it. And I realized it makes sense because I know for me personally, if I'm stressed or anxious, I feel tight and uncomfortable in my body. And I just don't feel right. But then once I'm in those meditation practices, whether it's like one of your nature Xanax or some of the cool breath work that you teach, that I get a little anxious at first, but then as I'm going through it, then it starts to go away because it's like, it's working and I feel better. And that tension and that uncomfortable feeling that I had goes away. And I don't know, it just blows my mind how it really works. And like, because, you have a lot of naysayers out there that are like, oh, you're just sitting there. I'm like, no, you're not. There's so much more to it. And I think it's a really valuable tool is all I'm saying. But I had to share that.
Yeah, but especially if you deal with ADHD or being able to focus,
yes.
or you want more productivity, you want more innovation, more creativity, you have racing thoughts.
That is me to a T.
Yeah, being able to help with emotional regulation because, meditation helps with the hippocampus and other parts of the brain that regulate our emotions. And
see, I didn't realize that. That's good to know too.
Yeah. And like, I go on and on about the neuroscience meditation, and people are going to learn all about it in the Girl Let It Go inner circle.
Yes.
But the other piece too is we were going to talk a little bit about like mind, body, spirit, like that well-roundedness with the weight loss piece, like you said, and like longevity, being able to reverse stress damage by up to 15 years, right? So it's like we're teaching the front end of like the stress resilience and trying to teach you these life skills and letting go of what we call the stress habit. But then we're also helping you to reverse stress damage that you've already done.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that with your biological and chronological age to reduce that up to 15 years. So somebody
and that is crazy.
Could be 35. So mine is 10 years less than my real age. So we take you through that whole process of giving you a quiz. And like, so if you kind of think about, like, we're giving you wellness coaching, life coaching, and yoga therapy, like all combined into one. And if you literally, what we've been told is like one of the modules, right? We give you 6 pillars, and one of them could be what we ask you to invest. Just one, and we give you 6. And that doesn't include any of the other bonuses. So I've been told that many times, like what I do ask people to invest, I should be asking like 4 or 5 times what I do based on what we give you, because
it's valuable.
the value is right. So, and if you think about like somebody, if they went and invested in services and products for wellness coaching or life coaching or yoga therapy or even talk therapy, even regular therapy, somebody could invest like well over $15,000-$20,000 if they were doing all that separately. And I'm not exaggerating that. Like I say that as like a real estimate. Like if you were going to get 6 months of wellness coaching or 6 months of life coaching or 6 months with a talk therapist or 6 months with yoga therapy, you would be investing, 4 to 5 times, maybe even more than that, if you were doing all of these individually. A virtual yoga studio, right? So you can imagine this as a virtual yoga studio because you're getting like over 100 hours of yoga and meditation and breathwork classes. So,
well, the hard part would be finding a person to do all those little facets, to like finding the right people. And so I think what you did really well is tie in all 3 of those elements, the mind, body, spirit, because it's so, a lot of people don't realize how they all sort of affect each other, and how healing one helps heal the next and the next, and it's a cycle, but it's a good cycle, because a lot of people get stuck in those, like you said, the rumination, and they get stuck in those negative cycles. But this, I think what you've done is you help people break those cycles, create these healthy patterns that, ultimately rewire the brain so that you can handle, as one of my favorite sayings that you always say, and that I always say back, and I probably say it wrong, the finding the comfort in the discomfort, or, being able to be okay in the discomfort. And I think about that all the time. Like I was doing yoga yesterday morning, and I was in a pose and I didn't like it. It was uncomfortable. And I was like, ugh, how much longer do I have to hold this? And I was like, you know what? It's good that I'm uncomfortable because I'm learning how to deal. And I had to keep telling myself that. I was like, this is okay. It's uncomfortable for a minute,
yeah, I mean, that's a great example, Dana, and that's exactly what I say, because yoga and meditation and breath work are all, they are life skills, and they are ways to just stay in a state of like calm when things do get hard, like you said, in the discomfort, because we can't control the things of life that are happening. We can't control the things that are going on in the world, but we can control our reaction and our response. And I mean, I can tell you from my own personal experience, a majority pretty much of the pandemic, I wasn't dealing with depression or anxiety. And if I didn't have the life skills and the yoga psychology and all the things under my belt that I've done, there is no way I'd been able to go through the pandemic and not, you know what I mean? Like not go into these other places. Like, and so, students are basically getting like 10 years and tens of thousands of hours and finances that I've invested so that they can take that 6 months and what might have taken them 6 years. And to your point, all the different people they would have had to find, that I have pulled all that together into one program.
And I think it's a good one. I
And
might
they
be
also,
biased, but I agree. I
and,
think it's
and they get lifetime access to it, right?
yes.
So they don't have to stress about it, right? We don't cut things off for people. Whatever they get done in 6 months, they get done in 6 months. And that
Mhm.
goes for the certification or for their own personal transformation.
And they'll always have
So,
that as a resource if they have to go back and yeah,
right. And
I
they can
like
watch,
that.
they can do the yoga or the meditation or whatever as many times as they want.
Mhm.
Um, and for those students that are interested in doing faith-based yoga, we will start doing some of those classes as well. So that's not something that we have on the website, but that is something that we're offering. So I have been talking to students about that behind the scenes.
I
So
will say that I did participate in some of your Christmas um Advent, the Soul Sanctuary, and it I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was very warming, and I liked you did in like a little over an hour each lesson. You did a little bit of everything. You did a little bit of the lecture. I don't want to say lecture, but the what do you call it when
like a
you
mini master class or
okay, so like the
discussion.
mini, yeah,
Yes.
you did that. And then, of course, a meditation, and then, of course, the yoga. And I really liked how you tied it into the themes of, Christmas. And it just always made me feel warm. And the one I made sure I was like, I have to watch is the faith one, because, like, as I said, like the faith has always been that's the one that I can struggle with sometimes. And so I wanted to make sure I watched it. And after I was done, I felt so happy for the rest of the day. I just felt so, everybody's like, why are you in such a good mood? I'm like, because I did yoga. I did this class this morning, and I'm just happy.
Well, it's cool too because I'm integrating singing too, right? So people are doing worship music, they're singing,
I like
there's
that.
prayer. So we do prayer meditation, and then we'll do some type of gentle flow or slow flow that's more of a therapeutic type flow.
Which is good.
Yeah. So people are getting really deep breaths, really grounding the nervous system. And then the other type that we do is yin, which is stretching.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is meant to be more of a therapeutic type practice. And that is how I'll be teaching going forward. So it's really meant to be for students that might be beginner to intermediate. Somebody who's advanced, they can add their own things to it. That's the thing about yoga, is that they can layer different things and add different poses if they want to do that. Advanced people know what they're doing. They can just do whatever they can add their things to it. So we've always taught towards beginners and intermediate for that reason. And a majority of students out there, Dana, that's the level that they're at.
Well,
So
I'll
we
tell
want to
you,
go ahead.
sort of, I've been doing yoga for probably 10 years, but I will definitely say I am not an expert. I there um your flows are perfect for me. I don't want to say I feel like I have more mobility and flexibility, but they're not taxing. They're not like sometimes when you see these photographs of like these yoga poses, and they could be intimidating, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. I have never felt that from one of your classes, and I've been to a few different live classes, retreats, and things, and then some of your online classes, and I've never felt I couldn't do it. And because like I know for me, sometimes I get self-conscious if I'm in a group and I'm like, oh my God, are they doing this better than me? Can I do what they're doing? But one, if you do it at home, you don't have to worry about that. And then two, it's just like I've never had that problem. You've never done a pose that I couldn't do. And and like I said, even though I've been doing it for so long, there are a lot of poses I still can't do. But that's one of the things, and when we're talking about yin, I know I keep like rambling on, but I wanted to share that I still do. I have a protruding disc in my back, and it was causing me so much pain, and I didn't know what to do. And I started to do yin, and, Jennie showed me some poses I could try and different stretches, and it helped. And then I just continued with a yin routine. And for the most part, that's sort of what I've been focusing on. And so, like, if I do a run or something, or if I do like some cardio workout, I will always end up doing a yin later because I need to stretch it all out. And I don't have that back pain anymore, by the way. I don't know if I've healed myself or if the stretching, I suspect it's the stretching, that I feel better. My pain is gone. And, I really see the value and the importance in the stretching. And even sometimes, like, if I'm not doing like a traditional like flow, or like I'm not dedicated time, there may be just times during the day where I just get up and I'll just stretch just to feel better. Like if I'm sitting at the desk too long, and it helps.
I love that. That's amazing. I remember doing a video for you too.
Yeah.
We send you a video on the stretching.
I still have it. Because I said I couldn't understand. I was like, how do I have to do this? And then you've also sent me a video showing me some breaths when I was having like a mini, I don't want to say like a panic thing, but it was like, let's say a pre-panic
meltdown, little.
Yeah. Meltdown. It was like, it didn't quite, I identified that something was happening, and I was like, and you're like, try this. And I was like, okay. And I have that video saved too. And I was like, it helps. Like, cause it does. And it's just so, and see, that's the stuff, how I know that you genuinely care and that you want to help us and that you're there for us. And that's where I think I don't want to say a lot, but I feel like there are some schools or programs where, okay, you're done, bye. And you are not like that. You are definitely there for us, whether it's the group, the LMS, whatever, you're there. And, you're very approachable in that way where you don't give off like intimidating vibes. Like, I don't think anybody should be intimidated by what you offer, your programs, or I don't think you should be scared. I think that's I think a lot of people do get scared about these ideas. They're different, but they're actually things that you can do. And I don't want, like you said, we don't want to say fix, but like improve and change if you want, transform. That growth is, possible with, within the mind, body, spirit, whether it's healing your body, healing hurts, or changing your mindset. Like, I feel like it's possible. And, and I see like a lot of things we're talking about how your program is more well-rounded. I see things like on Instagram or Facebook where it's just like, get yoga certified or change your mindset to improve your business. And I'm like, where's the other stuff? But I'm like, that's a Jennie thing. The other stuff is because I like how you do it all. And that's what I think makes you different. That's what sets it apart from all the other stuff.
Well, I should mention that for those students that are curious or want to pursue a wellness, entrepreneurship or yoga psychology or something in meditation or whatever the thing is, we do offer an entire module on the business of yoga and wellness.
Yeah.
And so for somebody who's going through a personal transformation, they may not care about that. But somebody else out there who may be considering doing that, or maybe they need additional help. Maybe there's somebody out there who is a yoga teacher and they need help with growing their business. We help support you with that too. And once again, that would definitely be one of the modules where somebody, and that's not the only one. I've had people tell me that with wellness, with the yoga psychology, like foundations work that we do could be like its own program. Like, so, but with the business piece, that's obviously an important piece. And you're going to get an ROI back on that. And you're going to get an ROI back on all of it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to leave, more healed version of yourself, more elevated version of yourself, so that you can live in your purpose, but also having a better mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health, which is priceless. So, and I think the last thing I'll say about that is also having a community is huge, right? The fact that we support you in a Facebook group and you have the support of the other soul sisters in the group. And so that's important to mention too. And you also, I'm mentoring people twice a month too. So you're getting access to my mentorship, to other soul sisters, and then having the flexibility of being able to take the classes and all the other master classes and the thought monitoring exercises, the journaling, all the things, the podcast type classes that you can watch, the master classes from your car, like an app, or you can do it on your computer. We make it super easy. You can stop a class, you can come back to something, you can mark it as complete. So we've made the process of you also, listening to the content and practicing the content very easy. And I've gotten that feedback as well. And I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit, but I've gotten a lot of positive feedback when it comes to that.
Well, I feel like we've tried to make it pretty user-friendly, accessible. Try to make and you have the handouts for people so they can have, you could print it out if you want, or use it for your own teaching, which I think is handy and helpful. I try to think we set it up in a way so like it's easier to use and navigate for the most part. And I feel like it's easy to, for your own accountability so that you can track your progress. And, I know there's like a syllabus for each section, and that I hope people find value in that because they can use it as their own little checklist. I'm one of those people that sometimes I prefer to hand cross things off. So for me, having something I could print out and just be like, okay, did that, that makes me feel like, yes, I did it. But there's also, you can just check within the software. And I think that's really cool too, because you'll never lose your place. That's what's important. Or you could be like, hey, I really liked that. And there is actually a new feature in there where you can leave comments and notes. So if you did like a video, or if you had a question about the video, you can leave that message within the learning management system. So then we'll see it and we could address it if we need to, which is handy. I like that too.
Yeah, that is cool. And we, it's just interesting because some of the students, I've had them be like, hey, I was listening to you in the car, I had you on the car, going back and forth to work, right? Because I would say over 40% of the content can be watched as a video or like a podcast style where I'm talking and you're listening, it could be on in the background, right? You could be like, cooking dinner or doing something around the house and having me on the background. And then there's the other piece of it where you really do want to carve out time, right? Obviously, if you're going to do a yoga practice, if you're going to do a meditation and breath work, if you're going to do soul work, right? If you're going to do some of the, where we're getting into family of origin work and digging into like the root cause of why you're having some of the patterns that you do, or why you have the stress habit, or why you have the perfectionism, or whatever the thing is, clearly there's going to be parts of the content where you're going to need to carve out time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you're going to get the return on the investment of the time that you spend. That's focused time.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So girl, one last question. If somebody was going to come to you, right, one of your friends or family or someone, a peer, that said, hey, Dana, like, I'm thinking about, doing W.I.S.E Mind yoga. Like, what would you tell that person?
Well, I feel like that should be obvious. I would say do it. Book a call. I've actually done that. Like, they may not have asked me about it. I've just said, you need to do this. Or sign up for this masterclass and I will send them your link or whatever. And I'm like, just, it's worth it, And, I was like, she talks about really good stuff. You'll really enjoy it. And, I always like whatever. There hasn't been one thing that you've taught that wasn't valuable to me anyways. And so that's what I usually tell people. I'm like, you could take just a piece of it or the whole thing, you'll find value in it. There's something you'll learn and, and it will help you in some way. But chances are it'll help you in lots of ways and you'll learn a lot more than just one thing. And you'll learn things about yourself and just the world around you and things. And it's just a very enlightening and worthwhile experience. And I think that if a friend or family came to me, I would say 100% do it. It's worth it. Make it work.
Yeah. Well, we will have more info out to come. We are going to be actually releasing another masterclass. Not that you brought that up, but we will be putting that out here shortly. We'll have more information. So keep your eyes and ears out for those of you that watch this replay. We will be releasing another masterclass. So I'm excited to do that as well. And I can't think of anything else right now, girl. So I am sending everybody so much love and light. I will put the page link in the comments. The Girl and Bro Let It Go Inner Circle WISE method. And just a reminder that, again, we do support students this year 3 different ways. We do on demand, we do one-on-one, and then we also do as a group mentorship. And whether that's personal transformation or whether someone's looking to get a certification, we can talk through that, what it is that you're looking for. And then we'll put you where it's going to support you the best. So that just goes to show, about having custom consultation. Like if, for example, doing something on demand or doing a group mentorship, that's going to meet your needs, then so be it. If somebody needs a little bit more help and they're looking for more one-on-one guidance, then we'll talk through that option. So just know that, again, I'm here and we're here to support you in the different ways, however you need it.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I'm sending you all so much love and light. Namaste. And we will see you all soon. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.